Today I have, quite possibly, the hardest art challenge an artist can take on. Just have fun. Jokes aside, I don't have anything grand I want to do today other than just draw. If that's okay with you, I'd like to draw. The other day I ordered a new pen for my digital art tablet, and I did a little doodle to test it out, and I'd really like to turn that into an alcohol marker illustration. The only real goal of mine today, aside from having fun, the lovely people at Sanjoki, can this even fit in here? Perfect. Perfectly framed. The lovely people at Sanjoki sent me their new set of markers. I mean, I say new. They sent this to me forever ago, and then a bunch of things happened and I wasn't able to record it, but now we're here. Quite a while ago, they sent me their original set of alcohol markers, and I really, really liked them. And then they reached out and offered to send these to me to make a video, but also, if I didn't want to make a video, just as a gift to me, which was very kind of them. So I wanted to draw my original character, Andy, because I remember using their old set of markers, and while I did really like them, my one complaint is that they did not have a shade of blue that worked well for Andy's hair. But I knew I wanted to make more traditional art videos, and then they sent this set to me. I knew I had all of the excuses I need. I'm always looking for reasons to draw Andy. But yeah, they did send these to me free of charge, but they are not paying me to say anything in this video. They told me I wasn't even obligated to make a video, but I just want to make more traditional art videos, and so now seems like a perfect opportunity. I will say this set of markers did come with a little art pad, and I'm not going to be drawing the finished illustration on this. I wanted to work a little bit bigger, and also the paper is a bit too thin for my personal tastes, so I am going to be using this cardstock. But I did want to be sure I tested this out, and so whenever I finish my sketch, I am going to be testing my colors on this to test out bleed through and everything. So I will be giving my comments on these markers here and there, but for the most part, we're just gonna chill today. If that's okay with you, please say it's okay with you. I've been going through it. I feel like I've been low-key kind of stressed lately about my art, and so when I made this, I really just wanted to make a drawing that was very self-indulgent. So my comfort OC with the most self-indulgent outfit and clothing. I like to add a lot of frivolous details to my drawings, and just overall, like I said, have fun with it. Overall, I am really happy with the sketch, so I'm not going to be changing it too much. I think the one thing I am going to change is the little bunny in the backpack. It just seems just a bit too juvenile for what I was originally going for. I like how I said it's juvenile, as if every adult I know, including myself, doesn't have a stuffed animal collection. But what if we did a bouquet of flowers? That'd be fun. Do I like this face? This facial expression? I mean, maybe I'll change it later, but honestly, I'm overthinking it. I'm just meant to be here to have fun. I'm just having fun. We're having so much fun. Gotta add the unnecessary blush that all of my characters seem to have. Like this video, if you also draw your characters blushing for no goddamn reason. I think I want to suss out the anatomy a little bit more. Make sure proportions are all correct before I jump into clothing. In order for this pose to make a little bit, I think their shoulders need to be sagged slightly more. I have seen artists who this is my rough sketch, and then after this I always lighten it up and then go in and refine everything. I have seen artists just do line art based off of this, and it's really good line art, and I'm you are stronger than I. Something that I do worry about with my art sometimes is like many artists, I have a comfort angle, I guess. And there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes I'm concerned it's a little obvious. I'll probably just draw some roses. They come surprisingly easy to me. They'll look better than this, I promise. I like how I opted to get rid of this very simple and easy to draw stuffed bunny in favor of the complex bouquet of flowers, but you know what? That's life, ain't it? Alright, I think that's a good base. There are some artists who are able to just go in with the line art straight from there, and I'm absolutely not. Disgusting. I don't know if that has something to do with having poor visual memory, but I also don't think my visual memory is even that bad. I think I have pretty good visual memory, but just for some reason I really need to suss out my sketch. I need to figure out where almost every individual line will go. Is this lead broken? Well, it is now. Yeah, as always, I gotta get right in here with the eyes. Out of a list of things that an artist draws first, I feel like eyes is the most common. Shout out to all of the artists who start with the left earlobe specifically. Do you guys also have a thing in your art where you feel like no matter how many times you work hard at trying to make it better, you're just never happy with where it is. Because for me, that's noses. You'll notice how I drew that and then erased it and then just moved on and I'm ignoring it. I don't know, I feel like no matter how I stylize them, they never look right for me. And I gotta get in here, I'm so sorry. Is that good? I feel like I don't like that eye. I think they're slightly too far apart. God, I have to get in here again. What if I made a sketch vlog, but all of the footage was just this, and then at the end I back up and it's just a fully completed drawing? Maybe that'll be my April Fool's video. Just kidding, I don't do those anymore. I think I am someone of good time management. Graduated high school and all my time management went out the window, along with my understanding of math and the Spanish language. No, I just did not. I really did just forget to sketch in the nose again, huh? Well, it's fine, we'll just draw the mouth first, then the rest of the drawing, and then we'll come back to the nose. I'm sorry. I will never change as a person. Do I bother sketching in their freckles? I'll just... There we go. There have been more times than I'd like to admit that I've forgotten Andy's freckles. So, you know, leaving notes for yourself isn't always a bad thing, you know? Does it make you feel stupid? A little. Will it help you remember things? Honestly, not all of the time, but it does help. See if I can remember what a hair clip looks like. Honestly, I think that's good enough, honestly. I know there's something here, but I don't remember what it looks like. Put a heart there, it's fine. It's fine. Shelf at the counter for how many times I break my lead. I have always been a very heavy-handed artist, and it's something that I've been trying to, like, consciously improve over the years. And I feel like I've gotten better with it overall. Something's going on with me today, I don't know. Another random question I have for you guys. Do you have any weird artist habits? For me, mine is that, just constantly dusting off the paper, and I don't know why, I don't know where that came from. When I sketch, it's usually in pen, and then this happens where, look, I've sketched the head. There's already lead all over my hands. God, I wish I could flip the canvas right now. I'm really struggling with this part of the hair, and I want to flip the canvas so bad. I feel like every artist who does both digital and traditional drawings does have that moment where they do digital for a while and then they go to do traditional and they try to like undo, or they try to like pinch and zoom. I'm a creature of habit, and that habit is drawing with my eyes 2 inches above my paper. Alright, that bow's a lot bigger. Another time I would love to flip the canvas. Tape a mirror to my ceiling right above my desk. That way, if I ever want to flip the canvas, I just gotta look up. Definitely nothing bad can happen from that. I feel like the longer I draw my characters in different outfits, it really is just how many ruffles and lace can we add in this drawing. Just a matter of time until I'm like, here's my new OC. It's a piece of doily fabric. Another heart button here. Everything they own has a heart button on it. But it is kind of funny that this is what I consider a relaxing drawing to make. Whenever somebody else is like, I want to make something self-indulgent, it's like person standing there, hands behind their back or on their hips. And then I'm just like, I want to draw a crouching pose in every type of lace and ruffle known to mankind and every seam in the clothing. That sounds really good right now. And everything they own just so happens to have the same lace pattern on it. They bought this whole fit at... Why was my ass gonna say Whole Foods? Went to Whole Foods and bought this fit. It isn't quite right. Neither is a lot of things right now. Who cares about this hood? I feel like I should also add hoodie strings. That's what this drawing needs. More things. You know what's gonna be on the end of these hoodie strings? You guessed it. Gotta add the zipper on the hoodie. It brings the whole outfit together. Oh my god, a comment that I got that is actually very relevant to what I'm making, surprisingly. The only social media I really use aside from YouTube and like Twitch and things that are specifically related to my job is Bluesky. And for a while the little mentions tab just like was not working right for me. I don't know why, it would be in a perpetual state of loading, but it started working for me recently and I was like, oh cool, I'll go in there and see if I missed anything. And I got a comment on, at the time of me reading it, it was 6 months old on a drawing that was like a year-ish old. That drawing was the drawing I mentioned of Andy where I did it with Sanjoki markers and they didn't have the right hair color. And the comment in question was, you love sexualizing AFAB non-binary people, don't you? Andy's AMAB. They tried. They got the spirit of a hater, and there were so many things wrong with that statement. I feel I was thinking about it for so long. I'm just like, wow. I feel like they had a one thought and no follow-up thoughts. But also, that's the internet, isn't it? I meant for this to be a pleated skirt, but I don't know if it's really reading as that, and I don't know if I have the patience right now to figure out how a pleated skirt would work in this pose. I say as if I'm not drawing many other complicated things in this. This is where I draw the line. I feel like the legs in my sketch are at a different angle than this, but I don't know how to make it the same. Oh, I think that's it. I have to bring this leg down a little bit. I don't know if that's how this pose works, but it looks better to my eye. So that's what we're gonna do. And we're also gonna break my leg again. What else would be on this skirt if not ruffles? Who do you think you were watching? Insert an artist on YouTube who doesn't draw many ruffles. No, you're watching me. I haven't super thought about how I want to line this, because sometimes I like to use multiple colored liners. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a bit lazy. I don't think I want to do that. Honestly, I'm probably just gonna use like a light brown or a sepia and call it a day. I guess it would make sense for me to do the hands and the feet before doing the backpack, so that way I don't smear, but that means I gotta do the hands and the feet. Man, my life is so hard. No one's life has ever been harder than mine. And I did put a bow on the glove, because why wouldn't I? Something that I do think about constantly is the art versus artist, where it's like the artist versus what the artist typically draws. And for me, it really does feel like that one image where it's like the super pink and purple cutesy house and then the fully black house next to it. That's kind of what my art versus artist feels like. I truly am an emo kid at heart. Not that you'd be able to tell at all by what I tend to draw. I don't think those hands are perfect, but you know what? Nothing is. It's fine. Their hand's just gonna have to be a little broken. I feel like this one right here looks fine. It's just this one that's a little not right. I have been meaning to study shoes, because aside from them being my weakest design point, I feel like they're also my weakest drawing ability point in terms of like clothing. I generally really like drawing clothing. I really like designing clothing, and I think I'm good at both of them, but then shoes kind of fall on the back end of that for me. Every single time I draw roses, I think of this very old Tumblr post that was like, how to draw a rose. Step 1, draw a head of lettuce. Step 2, color it red. And then somebody replied, well, what if I don't know how to draw a head of lettuce? And then it was like, how to draw a head of lettuce. Step 1, draw a rose. Step 2, color it green. I just got a cute idea. Who gave that to them? No one will ever know. I bet nobody even has any guesses. Is it in line art time? I believe it is. Let's see how much line art I can get done before my camera dies. And as per usual, I feel the need to say, sorry in advance if not much of the line art makes it in the video. I kinda zone out when I do line art, not gonna lie. That clip ended up being a lot thicker than I planned, but it really be like that sometimes. Oh, super level happened over here, but too late to do anything about it now. This nib's a little damaged, isn't it? It's so sad. I mean, I'm still gonna use it. Probably damage it some more, if I'm being honest. Alright, you know what time it is. One of these days, you guys will see me draw an eye traditionally. Normally I add more detail in the eyes when I line them, but I think I want to try leaving it at that and adding more detail in the coloring instead. I have been thinking about like what sorts of YouTube shorts to make, and I do want to make just more videos of me sketching in my sketchbook. If I did that, would you guys prefer if I had like music set to it, or do you like the ASMR-y pencil/pen on paper? Because as a viewer of art content on the internet, I'm completely indifferent about which one I prefer, so let me know which one you prefer. Alright, time to get in here for the lace. This is unprecedented. Getting this close and I'm not even drawing an eye. I like how I did that, and I don't even know how well you can see it on camera. Oh, I forgot the eyelashes over here. Oh no, I need their girly pop eyelashes. How else are they gonna serve? And now that I'm no longer working on their head, maybe I can go 5 minutes without sticking my head directly in the camera. I wouldn't bet on it, let's be honest. Okay, I got a level with y'all. Earlier I said I wouldn't bet on it. Ever since then, bet on it has been playing on a loop in my head. And I need to get that off of my chest. You know, I'm kind of pleased with how straight that line was in this sketch, and I'm a little not pleased with how not straight it is, just like conservatives when they see a gay person. How much do you want to bet that when I color this, I'm going to forget to color in that zipper? I was about to say it's not my fault, it's so teeny tiny, but it quite literally is. I'm the one who made this Everything about it is my fault. I just realized these ruffles are so much larger than these ruffles. Yeah, it's a little wonky, but you know what? It's fine. Nothing a dark line here and there can't fix. So look, now it's mostly fine. It's okay. Y'all are overreacting. I'm not mad about it. You're mad about it. This one's not straight. This one's all fucked up. I think I'm looking at my friend group. This one's really fucked up. No, I'm really looking at my friend group. Okay, I mentioned earlier about switching from digital to traditional. I just had the moment of, oh, better save my work. Better not take this drawing, crumple it up, and throw it in the trash. It's very easy to do that. Like on accident, you know? Oh, there's all the kitties in here now. Juno, you were just clawing to get in here. It's the most cat thing you could have done. Are you some sort of cat? Tell me you're a cat, Juno? It works out though, because my camera is also dying. And since I am not talking too much during line art, I'll probably just do the rest off camera, and then I'll come back once it's all inked. And we can get started with colors. Alright, line art complete. I said I was going to do it off camera, but I actually ended up filming it, then I plan on putting it as a YouTube short, which if I'm good at planning, which I notoriously am, and if never misscheduled something, it should be available at the time of watching this, so feel free to go check that out. In my mind, the light source is coming from this way. Scribble something out. You've never looked better. Gorgeous. So first things first, it would be easiest for me to plan out their skin tone and hair color and everything. Yeah, but this is very pink. Maybe I could use this for shading. Yeah, these markers, they're also more ovular than the original ones, which were very circular, and then they also came with these like swatch sticker things, so you can swatch them and then put them on the actual marker themselves, because they're, you know how markers always don't match like the cap colors. I think that's good for shading, but I do want another more brown color. Maybe what if I didn't go with the brown, what if I went with purple? Oh, that's nice. Like that. Something that I do already like more about these than the original ones is that the original markers just had numbers, and these ones have a letter and a number, so they're separated more by hues, and I really like that. Definitely looks a lot better after it's layered on top of this tan, because if you do the pink first, it's a bit rough. I do feel like the colors look different on this paper. It is also worth mentioning that I did spill a drink on this watch sheet, so if any of the colors look different, that could also be why. These colors for their eyes are fine, but I do need to be careful with this dark one because their eyes are brighter than that. Now the moment of truth. Their hair. We'll start with the light color. These colors are good, but they are going to require quite a bit of blending, I fear. I'm going to be honest, I don't like most marker papers. Other than like being thin, bleeding out, like after I put it down, it kind of like, you know? And I've had that experience with a lot of marker papers, and so I'm not super worried about it for these markers necessarily, because I didn't remember having that issue with the old ones. I do think that it is just this paper. It seems to be mostly with like the darker colors. It could also be the way I was applying it, because I'll be honest, since I am just planning, I'm not really being careful with how I apply them. And I've been trying to experiment a lot more with colors. I feel like the biggest difference between like my digital art and my traditional art is that I tend to like the colors I use in digital art a lot more, because since I have multiply layers and stuff, I can shade this specific area with any color and it'll like blend together and not look super off, you know? But then whenever I do traditional, I'm just like, yes, I'll shade this blue with another blue, and I have a hard time getting the same effect. And then for simplicity's sake, I'll probably just shade all of the whites with the same grays. I don't know how many people wonder about my process for planning things. It really is just grabbing any marker and being like, does this work? Oh no, it doesn't work. Alright, how about this one? Okay, that works a bit better. And honestly, I have no idea how much of this is even going to be in the video because of how like messy and, I'm gonna be honest, uninteresting a lot of it looks like. Not that one. Swatches my colors on the finished drawing. This is a red, let's not overthink that. Yeah, here violets are blue. I don't know if y'all heard of that. See, I feel like overall the bluish greens sort of vibe more with the drawing, but I'm a little worried with them blending in with the hair. Maybe I can do a highlight with a more yellowish green, and then I can do the shading with the more bluish greens. I think the backpack's just gotta be pink. I think that's just how it's working. Alright, I think those are some good colors. Bleep check. Oh, it absolutely did. Oh, and I didn't. Okay, that's not. Honestly, I was fully expecting that. That's why I don't like a lot of marker paper. With this, since it's a thick cardstock, I'm expecting it to like ghost on the other side, but I don't think it should bleed through on the back. I have something to say about colorless blenders, because every single time I've seen someone talk about colorless blenders, they're like, they're completely useless because you just go on top and it just like lightens it up. But what if I told you you've been using colorless blenders completely wrong? Put the colorless blender down first and then you use your markers. Voila. But I'm gonna be so real, most of the time you don't even really need it anyway. The only time that I really use it is if I'm doing like harsh lighting where it's like the highlights on like the edge of their face is going to be white, but I don't want it to be like a harsh line of like a white gel pen. I always go in and touch it up with a white gel pen later, but most of the time I really don't need a colorless blender. Oh yeah, I forgot to check if they go in the back. This is not important to me, but it's important to a lot of people. And they do. But another way that you can use colorless blenders, I've seen if people like color outside the lines, since the color does just lighten if you put it on top, you can like use it to sort of fix your mistakes and everything. It's not perfect, especially with the darker colors, but it is another way to use a colorless blender. Oh, but I should also check. Yeah, the colors seem to be more accurate on this paper than the other one. I should probably wait for this, but you know what? Never made a good decision in my life. I'm not gonna start now. I'll probably end up using that to lighten some parts of their skin, just because they are pretty pale. It's hard for a lot of marker brands to like get those super light colors. Gonna be honest, most of the time when I've seen a marker brand get that, it's Copic. Most of the time, markers really struggle with like the super light colors. Yeah, then I'm at the part where I have to carefully and delicately color around all of the lace bits. I'm starting to question my choices. I am also already really liking the brush nibs on these. They're firm enough to where if I go in these tiny little areas, I don't lose control, but they're also flexible enough to where I can like push them on their side. Something that I would really like to experiment with in the future, because I mentioned earlier about like the difference between my digital art and my traditional art. When I do digital art, I typically have 3 shading layers. There's one for like the general shadow, and then after that I do like a, I don't know, general rendering, and then I do anything that would be like a casting shadow, like strands of hair or like an arm that's going across a chest or something. I wonder if doing like the first quote-unquote layer with like watercolors, I wonder if that would give me a similar effect. Whether you do digital art or traditional art, do you render each individual thing first before moving on, or do you sort of bounce around and render everything at an even pace? Like, I render everything of one thing first, if that makes sense. Like, I fully render the skin before I move on to fully rendering something else. I'm very curious to see how y'all operate, because I don't know if it's like, that's an unpopular thing to do. I feel like these markers also blend really well. Like, these two colors are pretty different, but I feel like they're blending together pretty nicely. Granted, I'm using the darker color very sparingly, but still, it's like a decently light purple color with a fairly dark brown color. I was about to be like, where's this marker? It was in my mouth. It's like the more extreme version of when you're holding your phone and you can't find your phone. It's like that, except I'm eating art supplies. They're basically the same thing if you think about it. I think I want to leave this part unedited so you can see just how often I swap between markers when I work. In case you were wondering, yes, there has been times where I completely screwed it up and dropped the marker directly on my drawing, but we don't gotta talk about it. Even though I'm the one who brought it up. This is my other move, the Wolverine claws of alcohol markers. Whenever I do digital, I always add, like, right at the top of the eye, just a tiny hint of whatever color the hair is. So let's try and add a bit of blue. Let's do this super light one, because I don't want it to be obvious, and I didn't test this out, so it could look horrible. Okay, let me try lightening it up and then putting that on. And then I'll put this back, because I really don't want to overdo it. I'm already mixing these caps up. I can't help it, I need to have all of my markers uncapped at one time. It's the only way. What do you mean they're gonna dry out? Believe it or not, I've never actually had a marker dry out like that. I guess I'm just built different. Yeah, I really like those eyes. I'm glad I experimented with that. Let's start with this super pale color. But also, since it is driving me crazy, I got to color in their eyebrows and eyelashes. This I'm probably gonna have to go over. Oh, yeah. It's coloring over that brown like it's nothing. Oh my god, I gotta sneeze. I do, I swear. Thank you for saying bless you. I feel like I have to build up their hair so gradually, because I just think that I don't have very many good transition colors between like these lighter ones and then that like deep royal blue. So I just have to build it up super slowly, which means I gotta have patience, which sucks. I wonder how many of you guys watching hate the fact that I'll just fully leave certain markers uncapped. Does it stress you out? Does it make you upset? Make you scared? I am now remembering the struggle I used to always have with filming sketch vlogs of me making a full finished illustration. People want to see the process, but also since I'm focusing on the process, I'm not saying anything, which means I'm sitting here in silence, which means a lot of it's probably going to get cut. Then people don't want to watch because they want to see the process. And while I'm doing the process, I'm not saying anything during the process. It's where I wish I had a more interesting life. Sit inside, I drop pictures all day, I don't have anything to talk about. It's literally just like I went into the living room and I saw my dog. She was cute and I gave her a kiss. Is that riveting content? Does that make you want to like, comment, and subscribe? Okay, I'm gonna have to use this very sparingly and I'm going to have to blend it out a lot. I'm also very, I should put a paper here. Just something tells me it's a good idea. Let me hop over to this purple real quick and not cap any of my markers for maximum viewer stress. I really love this part right here. That part is my pride and joy. Everything else is alright, I guess. I will say there really are not a lot of good, like, purple options and varieties in this set. I mean, purple isn't a color that I use super often, so that's not really a big deal for me. But if you use a lot of purples, that's definitely something to keep in mind. Oh, I completely forgot to point out the colors of the... What are those? Hair clips. Jeez. Honestly, this one's pink. And these dots, darker pink. These ones, pink. This is how powerful we are as artists. We can make these decisions. Oh, I forgot this part. Oh no. How dare I leave their bow incomplete. It's just like their eyelashes. They need it in order to serve. As I'm coloring this, I'm realizing I had these little things right here underneath that lace pattern as an additional thing to be a different color, but I forgot about it. So we're just gonna color over them and act like they were never there. I also realized I put a heart in that bow. I was trying to just keep making the lace details and then that bow became part of the lace details. I don't know if there's anything you can do about that, but you know, I'm only human. I was trying to think of the rest of the words to that song. My first thought was, I pee when I feel sad. I was like, that cannot be right. I bleed when I fall down. I think that's the words. Anyways, sorry, I was still thinking about that. Oh, and there goes my camera. There goes my camera. Watch him as he dies. I like how I announced my camera was dying. I sang a whole song about it. And I'm just sitting here continuing to draw. Could probably go let that charge, huh? Today the day I finish this. Fingers crossed. I don't think I mentioned it yet, but another thing that I have noticed about these markers is that the smell is a lot less strong. I remember there being a very strong scent, which I personally never minded, because actually I have a really weak sense of smell, to be honest. But even though they are really good markers, that could have been a major downside for people with more sensitive noses, but these ones you can't really smell them. Oh my god, I got marker on my marker. How did that happen? Well, I take it back. I think I know exactly how it happened. Definitely didn't color outside of the lines. Shut up. I didn't do that. You did that. I think adding some here will... Or we can put the cap in the middle of the drawing. That's also fine. I do want to add more of that, like, super dark shading, but I don't think I want to add too much to the up there. Mostly because I'm afraid of ruining it, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta be brave, even if you are a coward. Honestly, since this color is so light, I could probably get away with just laying down the base and then using the colorless blender to lighten up some areas and then go from there. Sometimes if you use the colorless blender to lighten something up, you'll get this weird, like, harsh line effect. Like in here, how there's that, like, dark line of green. And that's just because of, like, the alcohol pulling up. But since this color is so light, you won't really notice it. You have to hold this paper down because it's warping from where I was really heavy with the hair. I know there are some artists, even on, like, particularly for YouTube, who will tape their paper down to their desks so then that way they don't move it around while they're drawing. I cannot draw like that. It does help the viewer experience because the paper isn't moving around a lot, but I'm gonna be so real with you. I need to move the paper around to make a good drawing, and I would much prefer to make a good drawing than give a good user experience. I'm sorry if that makes me a bad content creator, but my OCs deserve a better time than you guys. I'm kidding. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to watch someone who appreciates you. And then next, I think I should go with the greens. All I know for a fact is that I'm definitely doing like the grays last. This doesn't always happen, but sometimes with alcohol markers, if two areas are touching, like let's say I color in this part of the stockings right here where they touch these ruffles, which are going to be super light. Sometimes if you color a dark area first and then use a light color, sometimes the light marker, because the ink is so light, it'll just pull the dark color onto it. So generally you want to work from darkest to lightest. It doesn't always happen, and it typically only happens with like blacks or super dark grays next to like a pastel color, but it's always better to be safe. Widen that rose a little bit. It's fine. And I widen that rose a little bit, but it's still fine. Is that a big enough contrast? I think I need something lighter. Let's try a yellow. Yellowish orange. No, that's so much better. Looking, I think I actually want some more. I'll go back into the green. This area just needs more depth, I think. Let me do that real quick before I forget. The problem is that there's a lot of greens, but I feel like a lot of them are very repetitive. I forgot I was gonna add some to this tag. Rendering stuff like this is always so hard for me because it's just a flat surface, but if I don't do anything to it, it's gonna stand out so much. I'll add some more harsher shadows around here, and then maybe soften up the edges a bit. I feel like whenever I use alcohol markers and I color in grays, I always gravitate towards cool grays. I don't know, the warm grays were really speaking to me this time. And then here, even if it doesn't make too much sense, I do think I want just a small highlight there. Before I move down to the lower parts of the drawing, I want to add these darker bits here. Just because I'm not going to be adding too much of this. Yes, there has been times where I completely screwed it up and dropped the marker directly on my drawing. Nobody say anything. Not a single word. Well, it did it pretty well, actually. Alright, maybe you guys can say some words. And I didn't forget to color in the zipper. I'm a genius. I completely forgot about the stripes on their skirt. Maybe I'm not a genius. Maybe I have been a fool this entire time. And what you want to bet this brown color is gonna cover up all of the details I did on that shirt. You can still see it a little bit. Kinda. Whenever I work with alcohol markers, I always try to make my strokes in a way that would like help minimize visible streaks. Like for here, I can like sort of move my markers in a way that would like have the streaks go along with the folds in the fabric, so then that way they're hidden a little bit more. The problem is I don't really know how this fabric would fold, so I'm kind of just making it up. I do need to do more colored photo studies, because I have studied wrinkles in clothing and stuff before, but most, if not all of them in the past, have been like sketches, weirdly enough. Really like the way the back of the sweater looks. Still not thrilled with how this whole section turned out, but I might just end up moving on because I feel like if I don't, I could be sitting here tweaking this forever. Apparently I looked at this part of the drawing and just the lines are a suggestion. And for the hands, I believe most of the shadow would be on the top of the hands because their knees are like directly above it. I do also suspect my camera will be dying soon. Because why wouldn't it be? When that does happen, I do think I am just gonna finish up the drawing off camera. I mean, you guys won't be seeing anything you haven't been looking at for the past like 30 minutes or however long it's been. So I will color in their socks and the backpack off camera. And then after that, I will reconvene with you all to finish it up. Is finished. The marker is finished, at least. Last things on the to-do list. Touch it up with some colored pencils, add some white highlights, and I have some things to decorate the drawing with. I looked through all of my stuff off camera because I figured that would not be interesting. Yeah, I guess while I do this, I could also talk about my final thoughts of the markers. If you don't want to hear a bunch of in-depth ramblings and you just want to know, can I recommend the markers? Yes, I definitely can. And if you do want to hear some in-depth ramblings, what are the pros? I did not write any of it down. Let's see if I can remember them all. One, I do like the shape of the barrels more. I feel like the oval shape is a bit more comfortable for me to hold. Granted, I do have small hands. I don't know if that is better or worse if you have larger hands. Two, the smell is also a lot less strong than compared to the old ones. I did notice there were some markers where it was a bit stronger of a smell than the other ones. It was just like a couple of like one or two markers here and there. The brush nibs, I really liked them. I did describe them at depth, so I won't be repeating myself. And the ink quality was very good. I feel like they blended together super, super nicely. It does come with a swatch sheet. And I do also really like the addition of these like swatch sticker things that you can put on the markers themselves. I also really like the numbering system on these ones versus the old ones. Of course, the case is very nice. I didn't really show it off, but it folds in a bunch of ways. You can have it stand up. You can open the sides. It has like a little handle on it. It comes with a little strap that you can use to carry it if you're on the go. And then there is like the little plastic inserts that help keep the markers intact. Very nice case. That was one of my favorite things about the last markers, and I'm glad that they didn't change it. Some of the cons. This isn't really about the markers themselves, but I don't think the paper pad that comes with it is very good for markers. I just don't like most marker paper. I really don't. It's very thin. The colors bleed and feather a lot. I've yet to use paper specifically for markers that I genuinely love. Another complaint that I did have about them is that I feel like some of the colors were fairly repetitive. Like if you look at the reds, for example, there are a number of reds, but a lot of them are very similar. I think marker brands, when they have a set, they typically try to make it look like there's an even amount of all colors, and so like an even amount of reds, an even amount of blues, etc. But in doing that, they really just end up making a number of reds that are very similar. So I would much rather there be an uneven amount of each color if it means I get more variety in those colors. Overall though, definitely had a really good time using these markers, and I am very grateful to the lovely folks at Sanjoki for sending these to me, and thank you to them for being very patient with me while making this video. They reached out to me early August of 2025. I did not intend for this video to take this long to make, so thank you, Sanjoki folks, for being very patient with me. For quite a while now, since they sent me their first set, they have been my go-to affordable brand to recommend to people, and I am happy to say that has not changed with this new set. But these are the things that I think I maybe, possibly, probably, but also don't know I'm going to use. The only thing I know for a fact I'm going to use is this one, because I just got this and I really want to use it. I have always loved adding white highlights at the end of a drawing, but then also because I like it so much, it's very easy for me to go overboard with it. What is it, baby boy? Oh yeah, what else? Oh really? Can you tell me more? Now, what do I want to do? I know I want this. I want to put it here and then maybe a little bit here. I do want to add another thinner washi tape. If I don't like any of these colors, I do also have this white one that I can color on because it's like papery, which I think I might do with one of these brown colors just to help tie that in. I think I'm having a vision. Time to carefully cut around this and hope I don't mess it up. And I do want to go for the rough, ripped look versus a smooth cut line. I want to add more than just this one strand, but I'm going to be honest, I have no idea where else to put it. Because in my head, I was going to have another one up here, which I guess I still could. It's just that cutting this one with an X-Acto knife is a lot harder. Whatever, let's try it. And if it looks bad, no it doesn't. Pray for me. Ooh, it's a little rough. Hold on. I do have to get my head in here. I'm sorry. Okay, that looks so much better. I'm glad I took that time. Is there anything else I want to do? I debated adding something in this corner here, like similar to this maybe. I feel like if I'm doing this, I need to add another piece of brown tape. Yeah, I thought about adding some of these, but I don't think I'm going to. I think it would be too busy. I'm actually really happy with how this came out, considering the fact that I've been overthinking a lot in my art. I also hope that you enjoyed this traditional art vlog. I know you guys have been missing them. I have another one planned for my next video, so stay tuned. Thank you again to the lovely folks at Sanjoki for sending these to me. If you are interested in buying this set of markers for yourself, you can find the link in the description box. I can definitely recommend them. Yeah? Yeah, Momo? You gonna come help me close out the video? Yeah? Go close out the video for me. Yeah? Okay, buddy. Oh, Momo. Momo. Yeah? You drooled on my desk!